Hvala. Pa pre svega, dozvolite da se predstavim, ja sam Mirko Hladni ispred firme Digital.
I'm director and co-owner of Digital 2 agency. We are dealing in IT, digital communication primarily. You have met us before because we created visual identity for businesses forum and for Agro Fair. I'm really pleased to see that the number of visitors increased, and I hope that this trend will continue in future. Now we'll talk about branding and its application in a berry sector. I will show that and I will try to be as interesting as possible. If my wife is giving birth, if I have an emergency call, then you will know what is it about. Let's start with an exercise. Please read through these phrases. Okay. She's the characteristic of is a hyperpave. It could be hallucination, it goes well with euro, and so on. So maybe it seems senseless to you, but if we add a keyword vision, and we all know that vision is important, and then we go through these sentences again, then you can see that vision is a characteristic of successful people, can be hallucination, television, and so on. So what we wanted to show with this exercise? One of the most important things in every brand is that you feel something, that something is familiar, that you recognize something. And you all know this sign, I believe. Nobody thought that this is a company that trades in Apple. So now, can you tell me a characteristic? What this sign association? Quality, okay. Graphics, yeah. Based on performances. Anybody else can add something? What is important for this brand, for Apple, is its recognizability. I believe everybody recognized that this is the sign of the company. The quality that separates this company from others is really good, and also the loyalty to the brand is important. But what is important in every brand? What we get? What values? What values we have? We have the awareness of the brand, the recognizability, and the superiority compared with the products of the same kind. So what we have the quality perception and the loyalty to the brand. But how to reach, how to come to the brand? And now we have the quotation from the David Eckert, who is one of the best experts. The development of the brand is the only way that a product gets the added value and becomes distinguishable. And competitive, that's what we want. We want a competitive product. But imagine this interesting situation. Imagine a product that you can have a very good fruit, high quality fruit, but a limited quantity compared with that of the competition, and the need to differentiate this product to get the highest possible price. And I suppose you'll all think of blueberry or berries coming from Serbia. But no, we will talk about kiwi. At first sight, you may not see the common link, the link between the kiwi and what we need, but let's go a half a century ago and let's talk about New Zealand kiwi, which got popular all over the world in some 50 years ago, and New Zealand did not have any competition exporting kiwi. So they enjoyed quite a favorable position. They enjoyed high interest rates and the demand grew because not everybody then other producers saw this opportunity from South America and from other parts of the world. So Italians, they were quite entrepreneurs, and in the 90s they developed the kiwi plantation in the north of Italy. And in the 1990s, they dominated the kiwi market, and New Zealand producers came into quite a hard position. And you know they were indebted because of the equipment, of the technology, of everything, and what they needed to take action to improve their position on the market. And now, what they did? What is the solution? Branding. We got Zespri. Before Zespri, we had New Zealand Committee for Kiwi Export. In the committee, they agreed how to export things and negotiated prices and markets, but nothing helped. They needed something more. They needed a brand. Zespri. Zespri is actually a branding program. Its goal was to differentiate New Zealand kiwi from other kiwi and to position Zespri kiwi as a premium product. But positioning is only one element of the branding plan. When we talk about branding generally and branding strategy, it may seem abstract to you, but this process is quite exact. It gets its steps and can be called brand strategy. This strategy shows what we want to do, how to do that, what tools we use, what are the factors, what are the implementing parties, who performs control, evaluation, how we use the results of our controls, and what is the long-term goal. And believe or not, they were really ambitious in the 1990s, and they set a goal to develop a completely new category of fruit. What is the most important element of the strategy is marketing. We are just simplifying things here in order to present this idea. So, we have creation of the perception that it's a quality product, a different product, a product belonging to the premium category. And then we have the relationship marketing, which did not involve only consumers but other participants as well, distributors and retailers, and a new way of supply management. Why was it important? Because in addition to creating the perception about the brand, It was important to give the adequate role to the distributors and retailers. Namely, New Zealand kiwi should not be placed directly next to the kiwi from other countries, because people would compare the fruit and the prices. But they agreed with the retailers to have a separate shelf with quite a different branding. So the added value that the branding generated allowed for different distribution of profits, so everybody got more money. And why retailers and distributors find them attractive? Because they created good varieties, and the market research, target groups research made them create new varieties. So they created gold, which is a sun of gold now, and green and organic. At that time, people first heard about organic, and as regards the gold, you can see that it's yellow. And the research showed that in Asia, consumers perceive this yellow color as something good, as something for which they are prepared to pay more. And there was Jumbo. Jumbo was supposed to be a lunch for students, for children. So they designed this fruit to fill the compartment in the lunch package. And what other guidelines they had? They talked about country of origin. It was really important. New Zealand kiwi, and also nutritional value, quite obvious. And it was also important that through marketing campaign and all other communication channels towards distributors and retailers, and also towards end consumers, to communicate that kiwi is a product that you need to consume every day as a refreshment, to build immunity, to have it in the salad, to have a sandwich with it. In that way, they introduced a larger volume of the consumption. And did they manage in that? Do you think that they did? This is Zespri today. They market their products in 50 different countries of the world, and in 15 of those countries they are first or second brand in fruit. So the social networks, they used quite a lot. In each and every market, they have they have quite a huge number of followers. And what is important, when you look at these photos, you can see different situations, how to prepare meals, how to use kiwi as fruit. So you can fill your battery with kiwi, food for teenagers, for mother and the baby. This is online, out-of-home, BTL. So brand strategy is such that it is the same everywhere. And today, Zestri is the largest global seller of kiwi in more than 50 countries. $4 billion was the turnover, and they sold more than 175 million packages of kiwi produced in New Zealand. And country of origin is no longer important because the consumers now recognize Zestri as a high-quality brand, so that now 20% of this quantity of kiwi comes from other countries, not from New Zealand. And now look at this map. Look where the position of New Zealand. It's in Oceania. And just imagine the challenges, logistical challenges for the producers there to come to the global market. Look where Europe is. And New Zealand is the #1 kiwi exported. More than 500,000 tons of exported kiwi. And it is important to say that they started producing kiwi with Chinese workers in the 20th century. And China is producing kiwi as well. And it is also the country of origin. But New Zealand is selling kiwi to China. That's the power of the brand. That's good planning. And now I would like to go back to the start, to the quote from the David Ecker. The only way that the product gets added value and leaves the commodity market is to create the brand. And what our berries need, our blueberry, is a brand. And this is the concept I wanted to present to you. And supported by our partners and the other stakeholders, we will further elaborate on this and present this at the fair next year. And maybe we will talk more about this then. I would like to thank you all. I am Mirko Hladni from Digital 2. If you have any questions or maybe some comments, just please free. She's not using microphone, so I can't hear her. What we can offer to a market. In principle, we are now at the same situation where they were at that moment. They have greater surface, but we have a denser population. But our geographical position is much better. If they could do that, I believe that we can do that. But their production at that time comprised several small producers, and the governments helped. But it was not really successful. And those were the first years of the National Association. But then, when private sector organized itself, things started to get better. So, essentially, what you need to do, just imagine that we have a single brand, all of us in Serbia, all Serbian blueberry producers. the same brand, the single brand, but different sub-brands. We are not poorly organized. Branding is something when we have association. And we are jointly penetrating some markets. So what we need branding to raise the price. So we did not move at all. No branding for us. We cannot gather together 300 tons of produce. Well, you know, in order to implement a branding strategy, you need to have the organization and the process. That's the bottom line. Everything needs to be clear, the roles and the processes. And I agree, without this organization or association, all these steps are impossible to take. But you know, things change, and I believe we will change things as well. Yes, I know when I am IT expert, and just imagine money diversification, and you know, Blueberry was something really far from what I dealt with, but I do believe that we can do this. What we need a critical mass of people to really stick to this idea. And this national committee that they had it in the 1980s, and then they had this transformation in the 1990s. And they struggled at first, and 20 years later, they made a success. We need to be persistent, and I believe in us. I believe that we have a realistic basis, realistic foundations, and I know what the situation is. I see what your comments are, that we have a multitude of different organizations, associations, and so on. Different associations funded by different organizations, but I believe that in the coming period we will have one single association that will be really strong. I choose to believe that. Thank you. Any more questions or comments maybe?
Hvala najlepše i srećno.
Thanks a lot.